running that intro thing.
Yep.
Oh, it's official this time, Jemo. It's
Here we go,
official
sir.
this time.
Here we go.
There's no turning back on this one.
We make plays every day, yeah. We make plays every day, yeah. We make plays every day, yeah.
Every day.
We make plays every day, yeah.
Playmakers shit.
Every day, yeah. We make plays every day, yeah. Plays
Yeah.
every day, yeah. We make
Yeah.
plays every day, yeah.
Hey, welcome to the Real Fantasy Playmakers. I am your host, Bogard Scott-Free. And right out the gate, I'm just going to bring in my mans. He's a Chicago native. You know what I'm saying? Oh, see, we're already one for the books, right? You count that as Bears drop number one. Let's go ahead. Let's go back to back. You know what I'm saying? And I want to introduce my man, Jemo the Icon.
Good evening, sir. Thank you, Bogart. What a fucking introduction, man. That is awesome. I love it, man. Love it. How are you?
I'm good, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, now we're going, see, now if we can keep count, we're at 3, you know what I'm saying?
We're at 3, yeah. I think, yep, we're definitely going to hit over on that one.
So check this out, Playmakers. I don't know if you've noticed, but he's a Bears fan. I mean, everyone knows my Niner fandom. I am a diehard Niner fan, but I do have a weird affinity for the Chicago Bears, so I'm excited to talk about some Bears with the real Chicagoite. Is that do they call it that? Chi-Town?
Shy City, Shy Rat.
Shy Rat. Yeah, all that. All it rolled in one. You know what I'm saying? All right. Right. First of all, we're gonna handle some real quick housekeeping. You know what I'm saying? Or house cleaning, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? But follow us at the GMM Network. Follow me at Bogard Scott Free World. And follow my man Jemo the Icon. Let him know. Go ahead and you can run that. Hit him off with the list, because I know you're on it. You're on Twitter and IG also. But
Twitter, Instagram, and then just JemoTheIcon.com for the website with all the info up there as well, sir.
Woo! The Icon. Yeah. See, you know, I tried to get as many people as I could today just to, come in and witness me bring in the Icon, you know what I mean? But because I just wanted them, their sole purpose to be here was just to make some noise, just every time Jemo the Icon. But then, everybody's quarantined, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Self-quarantine, as you all should be. And before we, speaking of self-quarantine, while you want to get your relax on in your self-quarantine, you could do it by, picking you up something to help that anxiety, or, or maybe picking up something, to help them ankles or them cankles, you know what I'm saying, with a nice topical. And then we're talking about Milk and Honey TX, you know what I'm saying? It's for all your CBD wellness, all your CBD goodness. Check them out at www.milkandhoneytx.com. All right, bam. You know what I'm saying?
Very nice.
Boom. Okay. So we're gonna start there. We're gonna start in Chicago. I want to know where the Icon. Take me to the beginning of the Icon story. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Yeah. So I basically was all over the place on the north side as a youngster. The most recent, the most memorable places that I lived at and honestly remember is like Albany Park, Lincoln Park, Wrigleyville, and the Wicker Park areas. It's a lot different from where I'm living at now. It's just outside of Boston.
You're out in Mass, right? You're out in Mass.
Correct. Yep.
And you're definitely not a masshole.
No. I mean, everybody, all my coworkers, my friends.
Yeah, they're all massholes. Let me ask you a question.
They try to convert me to fucking being a Pats fan. I'm like, no, man, I respect them, but no.
Hey, you know what? You stuck to your guns like a real Chicago Chiracian. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so all right,
so them through and through.
Right? All right, so continue. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah. So I was used to like gunshots in Albany Park and all that, and the drunk college kids in Lincoln Park, and then the hipster fucking kids in Wicker Park. And that's that's pretty much it, man. It's I've been all over the place. I didn't really get out to the west side too much because I not really wanted in that area, but for obvious reasons, and that's okay. That's okay. The different types of organizations over there, but it's one love in that city, and that's really all that matters, man.
Oh yeah, and just I want to point something out while speaking on that note is that that's what it should be all about in general right now in this corona climate confinement. It should all just be one love. We all need to, you know what I mean? And in this case, loving each other from afar. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
You know,
We're really practicing that distancing thing right now.
Like I know, I mean, you know, what I'm saying I don't want to immediately date us, but you know, we do remember the what was it, AT&T reach out and touch somebody, right?
Yeah.
Right? What was it? Right? You know what I'm saying? And in this case, we just got to do that digitally and with other means.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And look, that's what we're right here on the GMM network with my man Jemo the Icon. You know what I'm saying? Hold on.
And Bogard, I just want to thank you though for having me on, man. I appreciate it so much. It's an honor to be on the Playmakers show with you, Bogard Scott Free, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Now, hey, my pleasure. So now let's get back to Chicago. So what?
Yeah.
How old were you when you know what I'm saying during your Bears fandom? Like when did you become a Bears fan? Because I know in the '80s you guys had one of the more dominating teams with them.
Definitely.
Oh man, you know what I'm saying?
I mean,
a team
it was
that is known as the Bears. You know what I'm saying?
So I started getting into the sport at like 3 years old. My dad put me into soccer, which I really wasn't too involved with because you know he's Eastern European guy. I was an American-born kid. You know, I was like, fuck this. My attention directly went to football. There were these big man beasts wearing these fucking like costumes and shit. You know,
with like warrior Viking helmets type things on.
Dude, I was really big into fucking Voltron, so I'm like, shit. You know, these guys are riding Voltron over here. So,
Hey, that's a great analogy because they form together and make a beast, like make a beast of a lion or whatnot, or you know what I mean?
Definitely, yeah. So I mean, I love the Bears through and through. I was, I loved basketball. This was like up until Jordan retired the second time with the Wizards, you know, and then I kind of stopped following it because I really didn't know.
Well, how do you follow up something as great as that? Like, I don't blame you.
Yeah, man, and so you can't, you know, and then the Bulls went to shit after that for a little while, and then,
for a long while,
you know, you had. Yeah, for
shout out to Jalen Rose though. Jalen Rose he kind of brought some little bit of spark for them for a minute. Remember? Oh no, was it Rose? DeRozan. My bad, DeRozan.
No, Jalen Rose.
Oh, it was Jalen Rose too. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, I had that right. You know, I may or may have not have overindulged before we started. You know what I'm saying?
It's all right.
Yes, you know, there's all kind of Roses and Jalen's and yeah.
Yeah, all the same shit.
But I won't begin to lie though and say like I'm some kind of super basketball savant. Like I'm definitely a Warriors fan and I'm a homer.
Yeah.
But like, you know, there's too many goddamn games to tune in. But like football is the one that like I'll dissect it every single one. You know what I mean? There's like 3 nights a week, and the rest of the time, if whatever I miss, I could go back and watch the tapes.
Right.
And you know, I love it. You know what I mean? I love like, everything you just said about it. The fact that it is like Voltron, it is fucking. You know, it's a melee of these grown ass men playing a child's game. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and you grew up loving a team. You know what I'm saying? Oh, a team, right? You grew up loving a team that they were like physically dominating. You know what I mean? Like they were, you know what I'm saying? Like the '85 Bears, even. You know what I mean? Like
it was all defense. I mean, you know, and I remember watching the Super Bowl with my dad and his buddies. This was on we lived in an apartment. I think this was around the Albany Park days. But, you know, he had all of his friends over, and they really didn't understand the game of football. They were more into soccer and shit, and I just loved it. And, you know, they were
which they call the real football, right? That's what they call it?
Right, exactly, yeah. So, you know, they were all drinking moonshine. I'm, 7, 8 years old or something, so I had a little sip of that, and that really put me over. I was like, holy shit. But the one thing that really pissed me off, it was that Walter Payton did not get a touchdown. They put the fridge in instead of Payton getting that Walter Jr. touchdown. So I was a little disappointed with that. But I was super happy. And then, you know, living out here now in the New England area, you know, they're all throwing it in my face on how many rings they have and all this other shit. But I'm like, listen, 1985, that's all I got for you.
Right, and it was y'all beating them up, right? In the Super Bowl? Yeah. All right, and check this out, too, Playmakers. See, I'm you know, by this time I was born, you know what I'm saying? And you know, my folks, they're from the islands. They're from the Philippines. So, you know what I'm saying? When, you know, my pops, he came out here first, and he was like 19 years old. So, like, you know, he don't even really got no accent or nothing like that. Like, you know, he's an American boy, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like, And they came to Frisco, and during this time you had like the Zodiac killer was going on, and like it was crazy shit where like the city was in shambles, and like you had riots and you know what I'm saying, you had drugs and the crack era, and then you had the 49ers just on the rise, and kind of like they started winning these titles and kind of brought the city around in more a positive light, you know what I mean? And like so like my Niner fandom is kind of unfair. I was born into it, and then like it was kind of like I was the kid like, man, our team is the best, but not the best, because we had Steve Young, right? And it was always this whole thing of Steve Young trying to in the shadow of Joe Montana, and then when he finally won it, it just kind of seems that like we've been on that chase since, you know what I mean, for that 6th title, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that one Bears title is probably worth more than anything. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, shit, trust me, man. I'd rather have 6 than 1, but it's all right.
No, but you get what I'm saying, though, right? Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
The nostalgia of your guys' title. You know what I mean? In that fashion, the season. You know what I mean? Like,
definitely, it's the greatest defense ever. I think it was. The Ravens. Whatever year they won that back in
2000. It was like 2000.
Yep. I think they were the second best defense, but that's definitely arguable with some other people out there, I'm sure, but that's okay.
I mean, everything's subjective, you know what I mean? Like, okay, like for example, like pizza, right? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, so I am not Italian by any means, right?
Yeah.
Hey, but forget about it. Like, it might be in my linguistics, right? But I also and I'm not from New York or Chicago or any of these places that are a staple where pizza has its own. There's a native pizza to the place. You get what I'm saying? So I'm from California, where we have like California Pizza Kitchen, but it's like basically hipsters, where they're like, you got the garlic potato chicken pizzas and the fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you guys are putting like salads on pizza.
Exactly, like like a BLT pizza and the fucking goddamn, you know what I mean? It's some other shit, right? Some left fucking progressive type of pizza, where it's like, you know what I mean? Like, and like, we have our pizzerias here and shit, and we do have a Chicago pizza here, and that shit is the shit. So that, I'm saying all that to get to that, like, where I love deep dish pizza, because to me, I believe, like, especially like if you were to put up like deep dish pizza, like, okay, give me your greatest deep dish pizza, like, and restaurant.
Right.
Give me one.
So I have a top 3, and they're not in any order because I'm back and forth with it. And this was actually one of the toughest questions that you sent me, and I was switching them around every time. But I'm
yeah. What's the ranking?
Yeah. All right. So in no particular order, Lumo Natti's Pizza is definitely up there.
Shout out to Lumo Natti's.
There you go. And they actually do delivery in the entire U.S. too. So like,
I think Robbie was telling us about this on the episode, or that.
Yep. So and actually speaking on that, I need your address, because for you having me on the show, so I want to send you out some real Chicago pizza. So I need that.
Hey, and you know what? I'll send you some. I'll send you some good old California grown, herbals and spices.
That is beautiful, sir. Beautiful, yeah.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Yes, we'll definitely exchange.
For sure.
Exchange that information.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, so so Luminati's.
All right, so Luminati's. Giordano's is a staple in Chicago.
Gio's, okay, I've heard of that. So that's like the chalk, right? That's kind of like it's the good chalk.
Geno's East and Giordano's. Giordano's is definitely way better. Geno's East, I don't care for the crust too much.
Geno's East. That's the one. That's the chalk one. Like, every time I hear celebrities like from Chicago, they talk about that place. So that's like So that's the more popular one.
That is the more popular one. I think it's a little more overrated, to be honest with you. But Giordano's is the place to go.
Giordano's, okay.
The other place is on Clybourne Street in Chicago. So if you guys are in Chicago listening right now, head over there to get some takeout.
Yeah.
Very underrated. But they are called Pequoods. That's Pequuods. Pequoods. And they burn their crust intentionally a little bit on the bottom, but the flavor, my friend, is to die for.
There is something about charring something to a degree. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it does something to it. I like that. I have yet to to go and frolic through the lands of Shy. You know what I'm saying? So.
Oh well, hopefully you will soon, sir. When everything, all this shit is taken care of over here.
Okay, so even on that note, right? On that note, before we get back to the deep dish, because I'm not done with that yet, right? On that note, like I said, I've never been to Chicago, so growing up, you know what I'm saying, network television sitcoms, back in the 90s, they would basically pick a place, like a city, like New York City, you had Perfect Strangers. Then you had, and there were Israelis. You know what I'm saying? They were Jewish motherfuckers, right? Yeah. Then you had Full House. First of all, all the actors were Jewish, basically, right? But, but in this case, Growing Pains, they were Israelis, right? Then Cousin Balky, right? Then in Frisco, you had Full House. You know what I'm saying? Then in Chicago, you had Family Matters, and then you had Step by Step that took place in Green Bay, which I thought was preposterous because no one talked like with that accent. You know what I mean? Like a fucking like I don't like you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then it's Family Matters. Family Matters is one of those ones where it was like they did kind of touch on like some issues in Chicago, like they did have, they had, a handful of episodes where they addressed like gun violence and like.
Right. Because I think the dad was a cop, a Chicago cop, wasn't he?
Exactly. And they dealt with like racism and and like racial profiling and stuff like that. It's aside from like the campy nerd black kid genius. Who apparently drinks an elixir and he stands up straight and then he's like some sex idol. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden he's Stephon Urkel and like he's Stephon Urkel Curry fucking shooting threes all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? But like I mean so that show's just a complete crock as far as like the Chicago that you knew growing up.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, if anything, it looked like a house that probably belonged in a suburb. To be honest with you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it definitely was.
Yeah, definitely. They had the little 3-story type of jump off.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, with current shows, actually, Chicago PD and Chicago Fire and Chicago Med, those are all shot in Chicago.
Okay, so those give you those flash you back when you watch that shit. You're like,
oh okay. Yeah, definitely. And it's funny because a good friend of mine, he is actually like he's a camera crew guy on Chicago PD, which is pretty cool. So he'll give me like the updates on shit and like that because my wife watches that religiously.
He's
so
like,
it's pretty cool.
He's like, don't go in this area right here. Don't go to this bodega anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what I'm saying, they're hot over there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, you got the inside. I like that. Jamaicans. Hold on, we're gonna Jamaican horns out. Okay, so back to the deep dish pizza. So my whole I love deep dish pizza because it's a hearty meal. You know what I mean?
It is.
And
yeah.
I'm a type. I like to load it with all the proteins. You know, give me all the sausages. Pause. You know what I'm saying? Give me all the. Give me all the linguiças and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Pepperoni and everything.
Yeah, the pepperonis, all that shit. Salami.
On there for sure.
And I'm throwing every goddamn vegetable they got in the building. And I'm throwing if they got apricots, is throwing like walnuts and stuff like that and almonds. Is that like a Chicago thing? Because I know they be doing that. No.
No.
So that's a California thing. That's like some California pizza shit.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So discard it. We'll retract that one. Right. But so anyways. Yeah. It's a hearty meal, you know what I mean? And like I'm the type I like to, I'm weird in this way where I like to verse it against things. Like okay, like if there was a New York pizza versus a Chicago pizza, it would kick that New York pizza's ass. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. Right? The New Yorkers are all skinny little wimpy little fuckers.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Chicago, we got a little meat on us.
Right? Flatbread pizzas, get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? You know what is this? A cracker with some cheese on it? You know what I'm saying? And pan pizzas. I fuck with pan pizzas maybe because they're like the bastard son of the said deep dish pizzas, right? Because
that's it.
So who do you think will win at this age, at 80 years old right now, right? At Mike Ditka. Do you think who do you think would win in a fight? You know what I'm saying? Okay. Well, what's your favorite deep dish pizza? You said. Just give me
the favorite one.
Yeah, like when you're ordering it, what are you getting personally?
Oh, it's always pepperoni. It's different with the 3 different places. They always specialize in their own thing. Like if you get sausage at Lou Malnati's, I don't really care for that sausage there because it's not that crumbly sweet sausage, I guess. But at Giordano's, it is. So I mean,
so it's basically a preference. It's a preference thing.
Exactly.
Like how you feeling that day? Okay.
Always have to have pepperoni on it.
So
no matter
a large a large deep dish pizza of your choice, right? At this day and age, can Mike Ditka still take one of those down?
Oh, definitely.
Mike Ditka kicks ass, huh?
He is like a god in Chicago still.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I think that was a trick question. You know what I'm saying? Okay, well, you know what? Here's not a trick question, or maybe this is what people might have thought was a trick question. Was when you guys traded. Like, if someone asked you, what do you think about Nick Foles? You'd be like, what is this, a trick question? But you guys actually traded for him. You know what I mean? And I understand. Yeah. I understand it's a system fit. You know what I mean? I understand, you know, with John DeFilippo's familiarity and also Matt Nagy and you got all that. But then you also bring in Bill Lazor and then, you know what I'm saying? And so with all this said, this all screams to me like just safety at backup, because I think like this is just, it's meant to generate motivation for Trubisky, because I think I think your guys' GM, his job is predicated on Trubisky's success. So I think he's gonna make a conscious effort to push that. You know what I mean? Because you guys could have got Cam.
For sure.
You know, you could have got Cam, or maybe you couldn't have got Cam because they didn't release him till recently. You know what I mean?
Well, from what I understand, they tried trading Cam to the Bears at some point, and I think they were asking a little too much, or the Bears didn't have enough ammo to give them. And who knows? Maybe in the Bears' eyes, they felt Cam isn't healthy enough still. You know?
Yeah, that's true. And in the Corona climate, you know, it's going to be hard to do physicals and stuff like that. And
right, exactly.
That's basically all shut down. Okay, so Trubisky, here's my take on him right here. I kind of think it's kind of circa Alex Smith. And here's why I say this is because it was kind of unfair for someone like Alex Smith, who was a high draft pick, you know, first round, you know, a lot of hype on him, and then just year in and year out, they would slap him with a new coordinator. So it's like, you know, granted, in it probably makes him one of the highest football IQs at the QB position in this day and age. You know what I mean? Because going through all these different systems and then being able to be in your quote unquote prime with someone like Andy Reid, you know what I mean? That can really highlight.
He started out with your Niners too, right?
Yes, exactly. So this is why I'm bringing it up, because I think this is unfair, like for Trubisky, because ever since he's been there, it's been a different coordinator every year. You know what I mean?
It has, yeah. But I mean, not to defend him at all, but I mean, Nagy's been there with him, I think, through. Yeah,
but still, Nagy's been. It's been different offensive coordinators. So because Nagy's he's the former quarterback.
He's the former OC of the Chiefs,
turned
the
OC.
Quarterbacks coach, right?
Yeah, he was quarterbacks coach, turned OC, turned head coach of the Bears, right? And so he's trying to do his head coaching thing. Like, I know he's calling the plays, but there's definitely someone else in that war room that's drawing up the said plays. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
I'm sure he has his thumbprint all in it, but I mean, as far as like for someone like Trubisky to only start like 13 games in college, to come in and then essentially learn an NFL offense, and then every year since have to learn a new system, different terminology, different checks, and different, you know what I mean? Like, I just think maybe here's the thing. I say this in all goodness of my heart, because he just might be an idiot. You know what I mean? Trubisky just might, right? I mean,
he looks the part. That's for sure.
Hear me out. Like Jameis Winston. Yeah. Jameis Winston's another guy. One of those guys. He's an idiot. Josh Allen. I mean, they are in the bogey theory. They're the quintessential. Jock, like the dumb jock.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I have this theory that Jameis Winston got LASIK eye surgery because he realized he wasn't fooling anyone wearing glasses where people thought he was smart. He was like, you know what?
No shit, yeah.
Because he's, because he just they just might not be that smart as far as their decision making, their QB, IQ. You know what I mean? I mean, they're still young, so and I reserve the right to change my opinion. But and mind you, I look for more intangibles than I should when I'm looking at players. But and then you have the ultimate intangible with Nick Foles, where he's just a good God-fearing man, just a Christian, and God loves him. You know what I mean? God loves him. You know what I'm saying? And everywhere Nick Foles goes, everywhere he goes, he's gonna get an opportunity. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, and I don't know. It's just I just see this. I see Nick Foles, I see Trubisky's two quarterbacks that get hot, and they get hot in streaks. You know what I mean?
Right.
And hey, you guys get them right the right time, you guys might be able to rip off, 9 to 10 wins if you balance it out right, like 4 wins with Trubisky,
if he does
6
it,
with Nick
great.
Foles.
I mean, it's just a matter of who's going to win that battle at the quarterback spot in camp. You know, who's going to be the starter there? Is it going to be Trubisky? Is it going to be Foles? I honestly think with the Foles signing, they definitely lit a fire under Mitch Trubisky's ass.
Do you think Mitch Trubisky's smart enough to know that they actually signed another guy? Like, is he
you know
aware?
what? Well, here's the thing. Going back a little bit now, the Bears moved up one spot in that draft class.
Hey, my bad to bring it up because we swindled y'all. Fuck. We straight swindled you guys.
And you guys were definitely not going to take them.
No, but we put it out there that we were. You know what I mean?
I know. And the writing was on the wall right from the get-go. But that's the Bears for you.
What's your guy's man's name? Ryan
Pace.
Ryan Pace. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So for whatever reason, they fell in love with this kid who started 1 year at North Carolina and did okay, I guess. Wasn't lighting the world on fire. But you pass up on Watson, you pass up on Mahomes, and you look what these two are doing now compared to what Mitch is doing.
Yeah.
And granted, Mitch has been through, 3 different offensive coordinators, whereas, Mahomes has.
Yeah, we can make excuses up for him is what you're saying, right?
Right,
yeah.
Right. But again, let's say the Bears did draft Watson or Mahomes. It's the system that they're put in, like you mentioned, too. Would they have succeeded? I don't know. With that Bears system that they have, with the people that they got in those offices there, I'm not sure that they would.
Oh, okay, well, you know how if we all wanted Cam to go there, right? Okay,
definitely.
Okay, so tell me, what is Cam? He got a big arm, right?
Right.
He's wild.
He's got some legs.
He's wild. He's got some legs. He's got some wheels on him. He's wildly inaccurate. He would rather call his own number in most situations, right? Tell me that's not Trubisky.
He is, but Trubisky is
not.
Trubisky's
in my eyes, extreme Cam Newton light.
I don't see Trubisky as a leader. Whereas Cam, he commands that leadership.
You mean a leader of a team?
A team
that is known
as the Bears.
Okay,
that's it.
Okay, here's the more riveting question, right? So at this day and age, at 80 years old, who wins in a fight, Trubisky or Mike Ditka?
Oh, Ditka.
Yeah.
That is known as the Bears.
Yeah. It's another trick question, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? All right, so with Cam Newton still floating around, where do you see him fit? Like, if you could play fantasy manager right now, where are you putting, or even real general manager?
As a fantasy manager, would I take him on my team? Maybe, depending where he goes. But I honestly think the perfect landing spot for him would be in Pittsburgh. One.
Okay. Is this a reality landing spot? Right?
This is a reality landing spot.
Yeah. I like that. Okay, pray tell. Break that down.
Now, the reason I say Pittsburgh, Ben's got another year left, maybe, right? And he's going to be injury prone. Where Cam can kind of just sit back and not be Ben's backup per se, but he can sit back and get healthy for a full year.
Yeah, and then if anything happens to Ben, you got a guy. You open up this different playbook. Essentially,
right.
Defenses have the. You know what I mean? I say this because I seen this with Alex Smith and then in the Kaepernick.
Right.
Alex Smith, he ripped us off a lot of wins. He gets a concussion. Yep. We bring in Kaepernick. All of a sudden, they've had 9 games of us playing this certain way. Now we have a whole new playbook, and then we're just catching people off guard. I mean, that's and you got someone like Mike Tomlin, who we've already seen last year, go through all these bad quarterbacks and still be able to piece these wins together. He's down there, should have been coach of the year. You feel me?
Oh, definitely. I love him. He's great.
Hey, you know what? I'll tell you this much. He's not coaching, but I bet you Mike Ditka will still win Coach of the Year right now. You know
there you go.
He win it right now.
Oh, shit. The other place I could see Cam is here in New England, too. And I know that Bill Belichick had that kind of a man crush on him.
That would be fun.
But it definitely would be fun. The place that I work at, we house a certain NFL football team here, and I see a lot of those guys every home game.
I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Yeah, they won a few Super Bowls.
Yeah.
They used to
but
have
they're
great
nothing.
quarterbacks.
They're nothing like a team that is known.
A team.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As the
The
Bears.
Bears.
That's it. So yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I could see Cam coming here, but I think they're in love with that Jarrett Stidham kid for whatever reason. They see something in him. I don't know. Maybe he could be the next coming of Brady.
Is that the consensus out there? Like when you talk to massholes out there, are they on Stidham? They're like, yo, we don't fuck Brady. You know, my Boston accent's probably
they're
terrible.
all on that Stidham train right now, man. They love the kid. They embraced him. They're like, and you know
do
what?
any of them say anything about like what you're saying about Cam?
They would like to see Cam here. They don't want Jameis Winston. That's for sure. I can tell you that much.
Well, okay, well, check this out. I love the New England one because that would be so much fun. So check this out. First of all, I think that's a place where Cam, you know what I mean, where like his type of celebrity athleteism. That's not even a word, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I gotcha.
He's kind of polarizing. That they'll be able to dull that out and hone in on the football Cam.
Oh, for sure,
right?
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? And then you know what I mean. And then it's big shoes to fill, but he's arrogant enough to be like, shit, fuck Tom Brady, right? And there's a special scratch on Bill Belichick's ass that he's always been dying to itch with Cam because Cam's one of the quarterbacks that actually is like 2-0 against him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you look at these mobile quarterbacks, they're kind of been giving them hell, and this is kind of the new game. You know, the mobile quarterbacks are back in style, and like you know, Cam, even though he's you know what, going to be in his 12th or 11th or 12th year, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he's older, and he's got some wear and tear. Yeah, there's a bad line in New England, but I say one name, and the two names, it's Josh McDaniels and Tim Tebow. When they were in Denver, he was able to make it work with essentially a fullback as a signal caller.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I love Tim Tebow, man.
Yeah,
I was
man.
a big Tebow fan,
Fuck
man.
yeah. Give me Cam with Josh McDaniels and Belichick.
There you go. Hell, man, I was really hoping for Tebow to go to Chicago at some point.
What, to play baseball?
No.
I just fucking with you. Okay, real quick. I know you're not a baseball fan, like you said, and listen, I'm a Giants fan, but you know, I'm not even gonna begin to act like I'm some super diehard. It's just the team that my family always fucked with, all my cousins.
Sure.
You know what I mean? All my friends. You know, I rocked the SF hats. It also had a double meaning because I am scot-free, so it was just one of those things.
There you go.
You know, it's you know, I've always been a diehard Niner fan without a shadow of a doubt. So it's kind of like, it's just kind of, you know, if you know, they're from the same city, it was just kind of natural, right? But like, and then, you know, we got to have all those fun championships and go to the parades and shit like that, and play Journey music really fucking loud. You know what I mean? And it was, yeah, you know, it was fun times. But baseball's not really my shit. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, what was it? What was the feeling like for a team like the Cubs to finally win it? Because they had that fucking curse on them. You know what I mean?
Well, that fucking Billy Goat curse.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Dude, that fool was crazy. He had like a panther. He had like a pet panther, like he would have on a chain. I mean, I don't know if this is legend or not, but I remember seeing like a documentary on the Cubs where this fool was like the one that cursed them, right? And I think that he didn't get to live to see it, obviously, right?
No, definitely not.
Yes, okay.
No, so it was. I mean, I remember watching it at work here in New England when the Cubs won, and all my buds were blowing up my phone. The reason being is because I used to live literally 5 houses away from Wrigley Field at one point in my life.
Shit.
And
That's
you know,
nostalgic.
and I wasn't a big baseball fan, and luckily for me, a buddy of mine, his mother owned the building, so. You know, rent out there, man, is not cheap. So I got a friend's discount, you know, so it was really great, and it was a lot of fun. But, you know, being able to walk outside of my house, like during the third or fourth inning, and get a ticket for like $5 just to go in and watch, you know, have a beer. It's honestly, it's the biggest bar in Chicago, man, is Wrigley Field. Even when they suck. It was always packed, and there was just so many beautiful women out there. It was great.
I was just about to say it had to have been a sight for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. That's for sure. But it was a lot of fun. I mean, the city I thought was going to go up in flames when the Cubs won, but the fine Chicago Police Department did a pretty good job, from what I hear.
Nice. Shout out to all the good firefighters and policemen out there. You know what I'm saying? Fighting a real fight. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Okay, so real quick, so me with baseball, it's really just about getting fucked up because all my boys are diehard. They're diehard fans. They play fantasy baseball. Yep. You know what I mean? Like that's just over the top for me. You know what I mean? Like I'm already obsessive enough. But luckily, I'm passionate about football, so it's like it's one of those things. It kind of it's like second nature, right? But yeah. So when we would go to baseball games, you know, we would ride the BART train. You know what I'm saying? Or the not the BART train, the Cal train. Excuse me. And like they would let you, you know, you could drink on that motherfucker. So we would just get faded all the way up. You know what I mean? And like, you know, you watch the game, or quote unquote watch the game in my part. Right. I'm just in there getting faded. You know what I mean? And like, it was just always one of those things. Then we hit some bars after, and then we ride the train back, and then drink again on the way back home. And like,
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And like, it was just that, you know, it was more about all that, all those things I described. It was like, you know what I mean? And those are all my memories, and great memories too, because you know, just getting fucked up. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like 6 or 7 of us having to drag along one dude because, you know what I'm saying, we can't leave a man behind. You know what I mean? And you know, I mean, we can go on for days with intoxication stories,
of course.
I mean, I know. I mean, I heard on one of your episodes, you lightly touched on Amsterdam, and yeah, you know what I mean? Like, okay, so
yeah, that was definitely a story.
I am a third eye. I am one who uses my third eye. I see the world, and you know, I guess you can read between the lines, right? Yeah. Yes, I'm definitely a life enhancement seeker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yes, you know what I mean. I definitely have never been to Amsterdam physically. But I think I was there the other night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you get what I mean. You know what I mean?
Definitely, man. Well, I mean, again, that's one place you've got kids now, so it's kind of hard to go there.
And I'm a one woman man too, so it's like and I've never been a red light district type of individual anyway. I'm an old school gentleman where I always enjoyed the hunt rather than you know the means of just paying for it like objects. Like it's never been my thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. But there's some of the most greatest coffee houses are out there, though.
Oh yeah. I love coffee.
Coffee's definitely one of my favorites.
I was having a bit of coffee, you know, during this great podcast that you need to hit subscribe to, and also, okay, so now, you know, I know I skipped around on that list I sent you, but you know,
no, all good, man.
But you know, we're kind of saving. We're kind of closing the show up pretty soon here because I know you got to go. But
no, all good. We got some extra time. No worries, man.
Okay, cool. Okay, because I definitely want you to elaborate on the Jemo the Icon. Is it just the Jemo the Icon podcast? I mean, like, I hate that my short term memory's all fucked right now because I was
it's all good.
Any information about that?
It's funny. My speaker's like, whoa, damn, the feds is on us, B.
No shit, yeah.
Hey, didn't they just hear me shout out the fine Chicago policeman?
Look at that.
Come on, Siri.
Yeah. No, so it's Jemo the Icon. So I kind of got this idea. Actually, it's
a light bulb, a lightning strike.
Yeah.
Okay, I like these stories.
Right, well,
yes.
I'll go back a few years.
Yes, give me the origin. Give me the origin story.
So I was in a band years ago. We were semi-successful.
Oh,
blah, blah,
word.
Blah. Yeah.
Oh, so you know, so I'm speaking your language every time I talk about some music shit.
Definitely, sir.
Definitely. I love it.
I know all the ins and outs.
Look at the universe. I gotta love the universe. Brings us together.
It is. The music industry, as you know, it is probably the most crooked business out there.
I'm telling you, the way we're listen, I'm a rap artist, so like, and a producer, so it's like, you know, there's a certain level of ego you have to punch through when you work with other artists. You're like,
for sure.
Like, hey, yo, man, jump on a track. And I didn't mean to cut you off. I'll wrap this up real nice.
No, you're good. You're good.
So, like, you know, doing this podcast shit with the fantasy, it's been so much more like the walls are down. You know, people are just there. They recognize the common denominator versus someone like, oh, well, your following isn't that big, or this, that, and the third, or like, you know what I mean? No. If you know the content's good, you know what I mean. Well, you know, why not? I mean, and we're living in a day and age too where it's like I feel like we're cheating everyone if we're in this Corona climate confinement and we don't continue to deliver that contamination free content. You know what I'm saying? That clean work. You know what I mean?
That's
Okay.
it. That's
Okay.
it.
So go on. So you get the light bulb to strike. The lightning strikes.
The lightning strikes. So after my band years, I started managing a couple of different acts and stuff. I got into the back end of it and the business side of it and stuff, and I didn't really like that
that's
side either.
Cutthroat too, because you kind of when you're managing, you kind of got to be cutthroat, like you know what I mean, where you're
that's why I got out of the managing thing, because I was on the front lines doing that, and I'm like, I cannot do this to people. I don't have the heart for it, because
it's like you were the hero. You were the hero long enough to become the villain. He was like, exactly. This is not. He looked in the mirror and he's like, this is not you, Jemo. This is not the icon. And is that when it hits you? You're like, oh my God, I'm the icon.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. My bad. I'm all making up my own version right now on the spot.
It's perfect. It's exactly what it is. And after that, I started a radio show called Hostage Radio with a friend of mine who I'm still good friends with, and he's still doing this thing out in Chicago right now with the Minimal Beats. So shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to Minimal Beats.
He is really successful on that end. And then, I let him do his thing there, and I kind of just faded away a little bit. And then I got into another radio program called Donkey Punch Radio. We came up with that name for whatever reason.
I love that name, for the record. Hey, check this out. I was in several. I'm a solo act, but I also had my own label, and I had several solo artists underneath me and pause. And then but we also I've cut several duo albums, and we would name the duo. In this case, I had a duo. We were called the Donkey Squad. So I happen to be partial to that name, the Donkey Punch.
There you go.
Yeah, what is it? Donkey Punch Radio? What'd you say?
Donkey Punch Radio. That was it.
Phenomenal.
That was it.
Phenomenal name.
No, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Almost as good as Jemo the Icon. You know what I mean?
Almost. So this was like this was podcasting before podcasting was a fucking thing. Like, my buddy and it was mostly him who would do all the back end work of it and upload all these songs and everything else onto the website just so you can hear it. And
that was the hard. That was during the days where like you got to jump. You're jumping through hoops. There's several different hoops you got to just to
dial
get it
up modems at the time we were doing this or whatever.
Fuck yeah.
So it was insane, and it was honestly, I was at that point in my life, I was honestly spiraling out of fucking control with the amount of drugs and drinking and everything else I was doing. Because
you mean living? You see, when we survive, because I say we because I've been there.
Yeah.
When we survive those days and we evolve as men and we can look back. It's okay to call those days living, because you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We might have had to, some of those times might have had to scar us and nick us up and scuff us up a little, so we could become the men that we are today.
Stronger too, though.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Okay, but go on.
Yeah. So after that, then then I found out I was having a little boy and stuff, and all this other stuff happened, and here I am today. So I had to move out to New England and be a dad, because the baby mama from Chicago was she lived out here originally in Mass. So I'm like, I talked to many different lawyers about her taking my son out of the state, and they're like, listen, you just got to follow suit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna man up.
Yeah.
Moved out here, and I honestly, man, I hated it out here, because I'm used to the gunshots and sirens I'm living at. There's fucking deer and rabbit. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
I've actually been through. I've actually been to Boston, and I've been through Connecticut. You know what I mean? It's like, see, it's kind of funny, because we got a place out here called Santa Cruz, and like when you're driving up to Santa Cruz, that's how I describe it. Where it's like sometimes it's a road. You know what I mean? It might be it's just a 2-lane road. A lot of these 2-lane roads, and it just sticks everywhere you look on the sides. You know what I mean? It just sticks.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's for sure, man.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
But so then I moved out here and hated it, and then I left basically everything back home in Chicago. I left my friends, family, everybody else besides my son, and I worked and I was a dad, and that was it.
Was your son born in Chicago?
He was. Yep, he was born in Chicago.
So he's like your token from Chicago as a stand.
He is.
If you think about it.
He is, man.
And here's one thing. obviously I met you at the height of the apocalypse. Not the height, at the crack of the apocalypse.
Right, exactly.
That's when I met you. And, I met you on the live stream. And it's funny because, quick little story, you know what I'm saying? You had sent me a request. And so I follow you back, and I'm like, I'm hitting you off with a link like I'm a somebody. I'm like, yo, subscribe to my channel, and and it's funny. And then I'm reading the name. I'm like, oh shit, that was dude from last night. Because if anybody knows, you know what I'm saying, not even a shameless plug at all. But tune into us Friday nights live with Rum Boys After Dark on YouTube at the Rum Boys Fantasy Network. We will be on there turning up. And in this case, you know what I mean? I'm waking up on a Saturday morning after doing said show. And I'm like, I'm a little blurry, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh shit, I remember, dude. And I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I got to get you on. And then, so since then, in the apocalypse where everyone can attest to this. They might have just a little bit extra more time. Some people are utilizing it with sleep. I'm not. I'm always, and, you know what I mean? And I've been kind of living this way, like kind of a hermit crab type of, because you know what it is. I'm a recording artist, so I spend a lot of nights just locked away in, places. You know what I'm saying? Like, recording music and I'm in the cuts, and I'm also from the underworld, allegedly where, we're actually statute of limitation where I could actually speak on some things where, where the cloth that I'm cut from, you know what I mean? Where it used to be, I should say, evolution of man, you know what I mean? Not proud to say that, I'm the man who I am today, but yeah, so that's one thing in a nutshell is that when we're texting back and forth, we're laughing because I'm texting you. It's like 3 a.m. and I forget oh shit, he's in the East Coast, and then you're like, nah man, I'm up all night. Don't even worry. And I'm like, and I forgot because we both got 3 kids in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? They're all so I got the 2 girls, and I finally had my son. So what about you?
No, congratulations, man. So my first son's a boy, and then I met my wife out here, and we had 2 other kids now. And things happen for a reason. I hated it out here, but met my wife, love her, and we have a beautiful baby boy. He's our second. Well, I'll say our second. She's stepmom,
Yeah. Love it. You gotta. I love. What do they call them? Meshed families, right? What do they call them?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So,
I might be saying that wrong, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I got you. And then the latest one. So my second boy just turned 3, and then we were blessed with a beautiful baby girl.
Oh, there you go. So you got the inverse Bogard.
I got it.
You got the inverse or the reverse Bogard. You went 2 sons, and you got the baby girl. Congratulations, man! I'm in that same boat. My son's 1 year old.
Yes, sir.
All my kids are 6 years apart. So my oldest is 12 right now. So I'm dealing with all different stages of it. You know what I mean? And shout out to my oldest daughter because she's also I be tagging her in. I had to tag her in real quick. So daddy can go, I can go have my medicine while I write up the questions for the show, right? I was writing the show sheet, and I'm like, that 15 minutes of time she gave me, it was she comes in the clutch. No, but so in a nutshell, with all that said, even the sacrifice you had to make, because that's another key word. On the Playmakers series, I have two different Playmaker series. So this is the fantasy show, obviously, and the other one I started. I'm about episode 4. It's gonna drop in a couple days, and everyone check that out. It's called Playmaker AF. That's Playmaker as fuck, and it's the other side of it, just all kind of artistry, entrepreneurship, hustlership. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Content creatorship. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's a word, but we making it up. We're going with it. Jamaicans. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know who else makes up words that don't make sense and everyone don't care? Mike Dicka. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so with all that said, right? I just wanted to say that I wanted to reach out to you to get you on the show because I felt like we were kind of kindred spirits in that sense because I respect a man who works hard and takes care of his family and it's even if you had to sacrifice and give up everything you knew in life and really just go out on a limb or on a whim as they would say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I respect that because it's a hell of a story to tell.
I appreciate that, Bogard. Thank you so much, man.
I don't want to speak on it too like it's some goddamn eulogy or something because you're still alive and well, and we're still, you know what I mean? But I like to give people their roses, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean?
Sure.
well, while they can smell them. You know what I mean? So, okay. So
Of course.
Speaking of roses, right, man, I was going to try to segue from roses to your show somehow. Hey, speaking of roses, your show it smells sweet like roses, right? I guess, right? That'll suffice. Or like flowers. Ooh, there you go, because you know what flower
There you go.
is. Ah,
That's nice.
So your show is definitely like some good flower. Hold on, Matt, let me light up too while we're at it. Anyways,
There you go.
your show is definitely like some good flowers, right? And I've been enjoying the names that you've been bringing on, because you've been bringing on some like everyone can go get the chalk, guests. Like everyone can go and get like the super names, but like you were getting the ones that are like important for like fantasy enthusiasts. Like when you brought on the stepmom, like I'm aware of her. Or when you brought on like Jax, like I'm aware of him. Like these are motherfuckers who are like they're kind of unsung as fuck. You know what I mean? And like
they are, man, and they're the ones.
The stoner, even the stoner's
stoner's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, and Robbie is fucking.
Oh yeah, Jamaicans. Hey, you want to know funny?
Gotta give a shout out to the Rum Boys.
Yeah, shout out to the Rum Boys. Big up. Check this out. Here's my quick Robbie story. So I get him on my show. And just like how we did, I'm running the intro because you guys can't hear the intro on the other side, not yet at least, but we're working on that, right? So it's about 30 seconds of an intro. I'm hitting the Jamaican horns, I'm ad-libbing, right? I'm Jamaicans, and I'm ad-libbing and shit. And then he just he's like, yeah, I'll pour up to that, and I can hear him. And then he goes, and it's like I'm like 2 seconds away before I'm gonna hit my welcome, right? Yeah. And then like he just goes. He's like, bro, I'm Dominican, Jamaican, and bro, I fall out. What?
No,
because it had been a long run-on joke that like, because me and my co-host, we got this one friend that we both know he was a Jamaican, and then we used to always laugh, we used to always be like, yo, we should get him on just to be like Jamaican and right, just like an inside joke, you know what I mean? Because I'm from San Jose, California. You can look it up, right? We're like a super melting pot. It's like if New York City or any of these big cities were like, maybe more so New York City. It's like a New York City, but like all the minorities were in the east side of San Jose. So like we have like close to 1 million out here. You know what I mean? Just in my city alone. So we're pretty big. You know what I mean? But yeah, so we're super diverse. So it's like I know several black gentlemen, but they're I know the Dominicans, I know the Panamanians, I know the you know what I mean? Like so it's like we knew an authentic Jamaican. This is uncanny right here. You know what I mean? Like because I'm by no means am I trying to be culture what is it? Cultural appropriate when I yell out Jamaicans and I hit the Jamaican horns.
That's it,
right, yeah. But anyways, so I fall out and I'm like at a loss for words because I almost wanted to bust out laughing hella hard, like, oh shit, I've been looking for you, bruh. I'm like, and all this time, and I was like, but I'm a strong believer in that universe shit that I kind of touched on earlier, where it's like, yeah, no wonder. It makes sense. The universe I always feel the universe puts us where we need to be. And like,
definitely.
I mean, I think you can attest to that too. Like, you probably didn't want to make that leap. And when you finally did, you know what I mean? Like, and you look back and you look back on the Jemo story that started in Chicago, that is home to a team that is known as the Bears. Right? You know what I mean? Granted, you know what I'm saying? And now you're about, you're with a bunch of new cast of friends and family out there, and some assholes even, but like, hey, this is just where the journey takes us, and you know what I mean? Like, I think if I can guess, if you can go back, there's not too many things, if not anything at all, that you would change. You know what I mean?
No, man. I was just about to say that.
Of the icon, the icon story.
I would not change a damn thing, man. Not a thing. I would still go and do the things that I did. And again, I'm my own man. I made my bed. I'm going to lie in it. I'm going to stand on my own 2 feet, and I'm going to take the punches when I have to. And fuck it. That's what we have to do, and that's what we're here for.
Okay, I got just a couple more things over here.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't get to touch on earlier when we're talking about the Cubs. How trippy was it in Back to the Future? But first of all, I'm assuming, because you are my kindred spirit, that Back to the Future is in one of your top 10.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, see, I knew it. Yeah. See, we're eating deep dish pizzas. We're watching
Michael J. Fox. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
he's riding around the
friend of the show,
the hoverboard or whatever the fuck it's called.
But see, in part 2. he went to the future. He went to 2015, and granted, it was a year earlier than when they actually won. But that was pretty crazy. You know
that was pretty good. And I don't who was it? It was an LA team. I think they were playing, right?
Yeah, it was. It was. Damn, I want to say the Dodgers. Are the Dodgers in the same?
Or the Angels? Maybe it was the Angels.
Yeah, maybe the Angels. Because I'm not even sure if they're in the same. Fucking. What is the American? You see,
American National League.
Yeah, it goes to show how much I know about the goddamn baseball. You know what I'm saying? Look at my baseball knowledge goes as far as goddamn Back to the Future. You know what I'm saying? No, okay.
No.
All right, so I don't want to close this on a damper, on anything damper or anything. I feel like this is such a great show, but let's just touch on what's going on currently as us as a humankind, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you know what I mean? How are you dealing with the COVID-19? Like, what's the earlier I remember you said something about how people are more excited to hear any kind of news about football than goddamn what was it? This COVID shit.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Like. So, because I know you're still working too, and you know what I mean. Thank you for your services too. Like, I know you're still out there.
Listen, man.
People need to eat.
And,
you know what I mean?
Please tell your wife thank you first and foremost, actually, because hey, kudos to her. Because I do remember you said she was a nurse, and she's doing the best that she can for everybody. So thank you to her.
Yeah, man. Big up to my girl. That's why I'm marrying you, babe.
There you go.
That's why I'm marrying you.
Yeah, but no, it's eerie out here, man. It's like when I usually work 5-6 days a week, 12-hour shifts or something every day, and getting home at 2-3 o'clock in the morning or something. Now I'm getting out of work at 11 o'clock, working 3 days a week, and there is nobody in the streets, man, coming to work or going back home to work. It's like zero traffic.
What about them boys? Are the boys still out there? The polices?
Yes, they're still out there. They're still out there. So, yep, they are definitely policing very well. I know that Rhode Island actually just got shut down recently, as of a couple of days ago. So I think we're going to be next.
Up there.
Yeah. It definitely is.
Yeah, because I'm from California. I'm from the left coast. Obviously, I say left coast because there's a lot of left wing progressive thinking motherfuckers out here, and so we were one of the first ones to completely shut down. There was you know what I mean? And then, shortly after, I know Robbie was like a couple, the day after us, where he was from. Because, they're also on that side, more west, they're considered
more
West Coast.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it was just Seattle, obviously, where Justin from Clockwork is from. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Jake's from, he's out there in Cleveland I think he's in Cleveland. I know he's from Cleveland.
Somewhere in Ohio, right?
Yeah, but, it's just crazy, when we're on live with these guys and, everybody is kind of, especially because we're all cut from the same cloth. You can tell that's how the universe kind of brought us all together. So it's we're all dealing with it the same way. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And it's eerily, even though it's eerie, it's a good feeling that I could still kick it with y'all like that in that sense. You know what I mean? Get on the line. Man. I'm on the pod with you right now. I'm saying, burn up a few joints. You know what I'm saying?
No, beautiful.
Talking about deep dish pizzas and shit. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Well, here's one thing. Here's the most riveting question by far. All right, ready for this? So who do you think, right? Who do you think is the man who will be able to come up with the plan to stop this COVID-19 shit?
Wow, that is a good question. I don't think it'll be just one person. It could be a team of people.
You mean like the man who ran a team? That is Mike Ditka, baby.
A team of people, sir. You see, they're like Voltron.
Yeah, came together.
Yes,
okay, so remember, this is how we're gonna close this one up because, like I said, I know we're cut from the same cloth. We're from the same line, opposite ends. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And I love it. You know what I'm saying? We basically speak the same language, but we're from different places. You know what I mean? And then, you were talking about growing up and hearing all the gunshots and shit like that, and being from Chicago, and me, I make rap music. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying, man, the cats I know from Chicago, it ain't no joke out there.
No, man.
There's thousands of people getting shot a year, hundreds of people dying a year. You know what I mean? It's just the violence is ridiculous, and it's one of those things where it's I bet you the consensus of the kids in the streets out there right now, they're not even tripping off COVID-19 at all. They're tripping off getting smoked. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
What's your take? Just being someone from Chicago, so no matter what your perspective is, it matters to me. You know what I mean? On these matters.
Sure. And I did a little Googling on this because I saw the question. I'm like, fuck, it's been a few years since I've been home, but even when I was home.
But that's something that won't never change about home. Certain parts of home. Yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, just within the first 3 months of 2020 of this year, there has been a record of 90 homicides, and that in just over a day.
Damn.
Yeah. That's a 34% jump from the same period that Chicago was in last year. 90? So that's basic. Yeah, it's insane out there, man.
That's homicide. So there's still plenty of people getting shot.
Exactly. That's it. These are strictly just homicides.
Because you know what, too? While people are staying in, this is truly one of those times where that statement where they say, the only ones that are out there are the one, the bad things.
Exactly.
In this climate with Corona right now, that in Chicago, it's probably crazy because the motherfuckers.
Oh, it's insane! It's insane, and it's not honestly. It's not just Chicago, man. You have to be afraid in the fucking suburbs.
St. Louis,
now.
bro, like. Even in St. Louis, a place like St. Louis, you know what I'm saying, it's really bad. Right outside of San Francisco, you got a little place called Richmond, California. It's really bad. You know what I mean? Obviously, Oakland got a lot of gun violence, but you know what I mean? Like, and it's just it's crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
it is so insane, man. And it's kids having these guns nowadays, and it's like, obviously we kind of know where they're getting them from and what they have to do to get it and shit and why they're doing it.
And Chicago is one of those places too where the cartel is like it's right next door, essentially. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Exactly. And not even just next door; they're all up in there, and they're the ones bringing a lot of the, the contraband. You know what I mean?
Right. And it's just it's sad, man. It really is sad to have honestly, if I was still in Chicago, my 12-year-old son would probably have a gun right now.
Man,
just so I can feel safe for him.
And you know what's crazy, bro? Is like that's something you don't realize till hindsight. Like when you're like with your 12-year-old son right now, and you're like, I don't know if he was 12.
Yeah, he's not on my lap. No.
Yeah, but and you're like,
but he's 12. He's 12.
Yeah. So you're like, you know what I mean? Now in hindsight, you're like, that's why I moved. That's why. That's ultimately could be one of, you know what I mean? Because the success rate of living is obviously higher when you're outside of areas like that. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
It's just it's unfortunate because it becomes just a part of life for the youth out there. You know what I mean? And like, you know what I mean? Essentially, you might have like rap artists. They might come up out of poverty and leave, and like that's the whole goal. They leave. They're not coming back to help the hood. So nothing changes. No. You know what I mean? Like even these motherfuckers get money. Like matter of fact, they go back. They get smoked. You know what I mean? Like
look at a good example, like Chief Keef. He still goes back.
Yeah, and he doesn't live there though.
He doesn't. But he still goes back. He helps community and everything. So
see, I'll give it to him though. I'll give it to him because now I was able to watch. He blew up young, like at 19. So and now that's almost like 10 years ago. So to see him, growing up and taking some responsibility for like even just for his influence, because the music that he influenced, the genre is called drill music, and drill music. It was a certain BPM, hard bass and drum.
Yep.
And just music about weaponry and drug dealing. You know what I mean? That's essentially in a nutshell drill music. And like these motherfuckers weren't playing. You know what I mean? Like they do tracks. Like this is how crazy it is out there. There's so many gangs, right? And there's so many little sub factions in each of these gangs, and like they will rival. They'll rival with other gangs. They'll shoot these motherfuckers, kill motherfuckers, and get away with it. Then rap about it on tracks and say the names.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. And it's insane. And that's how they get caught.
Yeah, it's fucking.
I remember hearing a story about I forget who the rapper was, but he did something and he killed some guy, and then next day he releases a track about it, and then he's fucking locked up. Dumbass, man.
Yeah, right. I mean, so this is a multi-layered answer, I'm sure, but like, just maybe if you could sum it up, what do you think could help? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Like, you know, I mean, those numbers are pretty ridiculous. Like, what do you think? Maybe more youth centers, like more like, or do we need more activists that, like, you know, of more success stories that fools that were in gangs that are not anymore? Like, maybe,
you know,
because a lot of them, they're kind of even afraid to go and help. You know what I mean? Because it's just dangerous.
That's true, man.
You know what I mean?
That's true. I mean, me, if I still lived in Chicago, that would be something I would want to do in my spare time, or maybe even as a full-time job, is to talk to the youth and talk to the kids and you know, show them that there is a better way.
You know what? You might be right. In a nutshell, counseling.
Counseling, you know, and it would just, you know, it's not just counseling. It has to start with the fucking parents too, whether it's a single household or even if they're coming from an orphanage.
Dang, so maybe you need these single parents, or even just these parents in general. They might need some counseling too.
They just, you know, and it nowadays kids are having kids, man. You know, it's like
that's true.
It's insane, and it's just everybody just basically needs to help everybody, and you know. If we're looking at, you know, if I'm walking down the street out here and, you know, I'm looking at somebody because I thought that I recognized them, they're not going to talk shit to me and be like, hey, what the fuck, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Out there, they'd be like, what you looking at?
Out there.
Where you from?
Yeah, and I'm not even looking at anybody. And then that starts into a fucking fight. Then it's a whole fucking gang war. And then someone's getting shot. It's just the little things, man. People just have to use common sense and just, you know, again, try to help each other. You know, don't start, you know, whipping out your phone if you're seeing a fifth grade fight or sixth grade fight or something.
That's terrible.
Tagging them on and shit like that, you know, and you know,
I want to point that out. I want to point that out to the playmakers. You hear what you got to take heed to the icon's words, youngsters. All you young playmakers out there, like, that's something that needs to stop. Like, egging things on because you're chasing negative content. You want you're looking for someone to you're looking to witness so much negative. I came from an era where, like, if you witnessed anything, you'd be afraid for your life. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And now motherfuckers are posting it because they want clout. Yo, that shit needs to stop because
they want the clout. Yeah. No.
Take it from us. If there's another keyword you're gonna take from this episode, Playmakers, it's that the universe matters, not family matters, not in the goddamn Steve Urkel show. It's the universe. And the universe is it's all a great balance, and it is karma. You get somebody, you capture somebody, you know, getting their ass beat, or even getting shot, or some just anything terrible. You know what I mean? And then you're even more terrible because your intentions are to post it, and when you do, you get some little clout, and then now it's like the new drug for kids is attention online. So now it's like now you're trying to outdo your last clip. Now you're out there trying to provoke things to happen. Now you know what I mean, and then you end up a clip. Because the universe is a kind universe. They're fair, and they'll make your ass a clip of someone, and something might happen to your ass, and they recording that shit. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's too much.
I mean, listen, if they want that clout and they want to be on that video and everything, why don't you play that hero then? Get on that video and stop that fight, or stop them from shooting this person, whatever. Yeah, you might get roughed up a little bit, but you know what? Fuck it. You be the icon. You be the icon.
Listen, no disrespect to Jemo the icon. All right, hear me out when I say this, because you are the icon. But you already know, you and I both know who would jump in and stop every single injustice. It's a man.
Course.
A man. Mike Ditka.
Mike Ditka.
That's the greatest run-on joke in any of my episodes by far. Jamaicans. That's better than the Jamaicans. Oh.
I love it, man. I love it.
Oh, man. Well, you know what, Jemo? Let them know where they can find you. You know what I mean? And I encourage everyone to subscribe to his channel. I'm gonna, I'm gonna have all his links in the description of this episode. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely someone you're gonna always be frequently seeing me post and tag, because we are part of this new this new Justice League, as you could say, of the fantasy industry. You know, we're coming together like Voltron, even. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like some goddamn Voltron, you know what I'm saying? And we come together like that big motherfucker, you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? As Voltron, you know what I'm saying? Just a bunch of, you know what I'm saying? But let them know where they can find you.
So you can find me, just go to my website, jemotheicon.com. That's Jemo, theicon.com. Or on Twitter, same name, at Jemo_the_icon. Instagram, at Jemo_the_icon. I don't have a Facebook.
It's all good.
Facebook.
Me neither, dog.
Yeah.
I used to have a Facebook, but it's too much pollution. Mind pollution. Like I was saying, it's too much of that clout shit that we were just talking about.
I think I still have a MySpace page up. I don't know, man. I gotta take a look.
Well, here's one thing I do need to do. I do need to say this out loud on the air so I could really kick myself in the ass for it. I gotta jump on Twitter because I had a Twitter before.
Yes, man. Yes, you do.
Because for the fantasy industry, like I'm doing my thing on the IG. You know what I mean? Shout out to all the playmakers that's following us. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
You have to get on there, man.
But yes, and I gotta jump on Anchor too because you know what I'm saying I need to get me to streaming platforms because I like I have this thing called DistroKid where like I can get my music on like Spotify and stuff like that. So then I started looking into it. They don't do podcasts. And so I'm like, okay, Anchor's the only one. Then I looked into Anchor and it was like, my boy, he discouraged me at first. He's like, brother, they're gonna own all your content. You won't own it. And I looked it up and it was true. But I was thinking, I'm like, I'm unstoppable. I'm a juggernaut. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
there you go.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I have so many different shows. You know what I mean? And I can always change names. I was thinking like, okay, they're not gonna own me. You know what I mean? I actually own the name of Bogard Scott Free. So it's like. It's one of those things where it's like, and I own variations of it. Like, so I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, just the big boy side of things. Because I've ran businesses before, and like I was doing this for fun, and knowing that I wanted to be serious about it. And like, you know what I mean, so throughout this past, I started before this past season. You know what I mean? We did pilots the year before, but then like, it was cutting it too close to the season, and like I had like a whole cast, and then it really just boiled down to my original partner in crime, who was the first person I called to do this show, you know what I mean? And now it led me to the icon, you know what I mean? Like,
there we go.
Right here at the icon. You know what I'm saying? So subscribe to Jemo the Icon on YouTube. It's a hell of a good listen. It's a hell of a good watch. You know what I mean? I say both those because depending how you're consuming the icon, you know what I mean? But yes, he is something I would recommend. If it was a deep dish pizza, I would definitely get the Jemo. And I think Mike Dicker would do the same. You know what I'm saying? I think we definitely hit that over too. I think that was good money. I think that was safe money.
That was awesome.
For sure, Jemo, man, it was a pleasure and an honor.
Bogard, thank you so much. I was so honored to be on your show, my friend. Thank you. I look forward to working with you again. You're going to be on my show very soon as well, my friend.
For sure,
so keep
man.
an eye out for that.
I'm be counting down the days. I'm gonna circle the date on the calendar, as they would say.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Awesome. All right. Well, Bogard, thank you. I just want to give a big shout out to Robbie, Justin, J Love, my little fucker.
Okay, one more thing too. You know how we only had a small little window of time initially because you were like. I'm like.
So
I went ahead and I called your boss and I was like, listen, I got the icon. I need the icon for a little extra time. I made the call up top. Okay, actually, I'm lying. I had a man make a call. A certain man. A man who no one will not pick the phone up for. I had Mike Dicker call. He called your boss, and he got us that extra 15 minutes we needed. Shout out to Mike Dicker.
Shout out to Mike Dicker. Bogard, thank you so much.
For sure,
appreciate it. One love, sir. Stay safe out there.
Yeah,
you need anything, Bogard, you fucking call me. Let me know. I'll be shipping it out to you.
I got you, my brother. I just might take you up on that. I might get the deep dish. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. You gotta text me your address, though. Okay, I gotta send it out.
Yeah, for sure, my brother. We're gonna be in touch.
Definitely. All right. I appreciate it, Bogard. Thank you.
Yep, the icon. Woo,
yes,
Jamaicans. For sure, my brother. You be safe.
Thanks, buddy. I'll talk to you a bit.
Yeah, I'll hit you in a sec.
All right.
Once again, that was our special guest, the host of Jemo the icon himself, cut from the cloth of Mike Dicker himself even.
A team
you know what I'm saying?
that is known as the Bears. The Bears. A team. A team. A team. A team. A team. A team.
Yeah. As known.
That is known as the Bears.
The Bears. Hey, don't get it twisted, Playmakers. You know I'm a Niner fan.